Why does it seem like every US president is religious, or at least claims to be? Is it a requirement for the role, or is there something deeper going on in American society? While the US Constitution explicitly states there can be no religious test for office, the reality of American politics tells a different story. In this video, we'll explore whether US presidents need to be religious and how faith has shaped presidential politics throughout history. The idea that religion plays a central role in the presidency can seem puzzling given the country's founding principles. The First Amendment of the Constitution enshrines the separation of church and state, and the Constitution clearly says there can be no religious test for any public office. Yet, throughout US history, almost every president has openly professed some form of Christian faith. This isn't just coincidence. In many ways, religion, particularly Christianity, has become intertwined with American identity and culture, and the presidency is one of the clearest reflections of that. Historically, the vast majority of US presidents have been Protestant Christians. Many belong to denominations like Episcopalianism, Presbyterianism, or Methodism. This isn't surprising given the religious makeup of early American settlers, many of whom fled Europe to seek religious freedom. Over time, Protestantism became closely associated with American values such as individualism, democracy, and hard work. As the presidency grew to represent the face of the nation, it seemed natural for leaders to reflect these dominant cultural and religious ideals. But it hasn't always been easy for presidents who didn't fit this mold. Take John F. Kennedy, for example, the country's first Catholic president. His 1960 campaign faced widespread opposition from those who feared his loyalty to the Vatican would supersede his loyalty to the United States. Kennedy had to publicly reassure voters that his Catholic faith wouldn't interfere with his duties as president, emphasizing that the separation of church and state was a core part of American democracy. His election marked a significant milestone in religious tolerance, but it also highlighted the deep-seated concerns Americans often have about religious influence on politics. While Kennedy may have broken the mold in terms of religious background, the expectation that US presidents at least appear to be religious has persisted. For many Americans, religious faith is seen as a marker of moral character, trustworthiness, and commitment to public service. Polls consistently show that the majority of Americans prefer to elect a president who believes in God, even if they personally do not regularly attend church. This creates a unique pressure for candidates to align themselves with religious values, even if they may not be deeply religious in their personal lives. This is where things get interesting. While it might seem like every US president has been deeply religious, the truth is more complicated. Some presidents were more private about their faith, while others used religion strategically. Abraham Lincoln, for example, was known to question his faith during periods of personal crisis and never officially joined a church. However, he frequently invoked religious language in his speeches and writings, particularly during the Civil War, when the nation was grappling with profound moral and spiritual questions. For Lincoln, religion became a way to unite the country and frame the conflict in terms of good and evil. Other presidents, such as Thomas Jefferson, were even more open in their skepticism. Jefferson was a deist, meaning he believed in a higher power but rejected organized religion and the traditional Christian view of God. His personal letters reveal his doubts about many religious doctrines, including the divinity of Christ. Yet, as president, he was careful to present himself in a way that would not alienate religious voters. He advocated for religious freedom and the separation of church and state. But he also understood the importance of appearing respectful of religious traditions in public life. Fast forward to modern times, and religion remains a powerful force in presidential politics. In the 20th century, the rise of the religious right, particularly among evangelical Christians, reshaped the political landscape. Beginning with Ronald Reagan's presidency in the 1980s, the Republican Party increasingly aligned itself with conservative Christian values. Reagan, though not known for being particularly religious in his private life, often spoke about God and faith, tapping into the growing political power of religious voters. This alliance between politics and religion became even more pronounced in subsequent elections, with candidates from both parties frequently invoking their faith on the campaign trail. The 21st century has seen the religious expectations for presidents shift slightly, though not disappear. Barack Obama's election in 2008, as the first African-American president, also brought attention to his religious background. Obama, a Christian, faced false accusations that he was secretly Muslim, highlighting the degree to which religion, particularly non-Christian faiths, can still be a point of contention in U.S. politics. Nevertheless, Obama frequently discussed his faith, using it to connect with voters and frame his political positions in moral terms. The 2016 election brought the issue of presidential religion into even sharper focus with the election of Donald Trump. Trump, despite rarely attending church and displaying little evidence of personal religiosity, was enthusiastically supported by many religious voters, particularly evangelicals. His victory highlighted an important shift. For some voters, a president's personal faith mattered less than their willingness to champion religious causes and uphold certain moral values. Trump's promises to appoint conservative judges and protect religious freedom were more important to his religious supporters than his own beliefs. So, does the U.S. president have to be religious? Legally, the answer is no. There is no requirement for the president to profess any faith, and in theory, a non-religious or atheist president could be elected. However, culturally and politically, religion still plays a significant role in shaping presidential campaigns and voter expectations. For many Americans, faith is seen as a marker of morality, and presidents are often expected to reflect the religious values of their constituents, even if they don't adhere to them personally. The future of religion in the presidency is uncertain. On one hand, American society is becoming increasingly secular, with a growing number of citizens identifying as religiously unaffiliated. On the other hand, religion, particularly Christianity, remains a powerful force in many communities, and candidates who can successfully navigate the complex intersection of faith and politics will likely continue to have an advantage. Whether future presidents will be as openly religious as their predecessors, or whether the country will eventually elect a non-religious president, remains to be seen. What is clear, however, is that religion will continue to be an influential, if unofficial, part of the U.S. presidency for the foreseeable future.